Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Super License F1 podcast. My name's Rodney.
And my name is Zach.
Time to say funny words so that the auto transcript thing doesn't get it right.
Good to be spelunking with you, Rigatoni.
Blah, 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 blah.
Wow, that was the best you could do, huh?
If you don't know what we're talking about, follow us on Twitter. And before the episode goes out, the auto transcript of what we just said goes out, and it's funny. I like it. This is my favorite thing that we've been tweeting lately. Zach, happy week to you. Good day. And also best of times. How are you going?
Good. Yeah, things are fine. It's getting real cold, real fast. You know what? I have this platform, right? And I never use it for self-aggrandization. However, I'm going to use it for that this time.
I was going to ask.
A half marathon on Sunday. Yeah.
Get out of town. You could probably run out of town. It's a half marathon. Run out of town and come back. How was it?
It was great. I did what everybody told me to do, which is everybody else is going to go out really fast because I ran. Don't forget, it's a run. This was the funniest thing at home because I'm taking, I've never done a race before. I was really nervous. Didn't have a good sleep the night before. But the weeks leading up to it, my partner Amber kept calling it the fun run. What day's the fun run?
Oh, no.
The fun run?
When's your little walk
That's
thing?
Yeah. when's your jaunt around the Regent's Park? So, yeah, it was fine. I did what everybody told me to do, which is manage your pace. Everyone else is going to go out really fast because they're excited. They're going to be really keen, but stick to the pace you want to do. I was nervous because this race had a 2-hour time limit. They take away the line. They've only got the slot in the park for 2 hours. So if you don't do it under the time, you might not get to finish. So a little bit of downward pressure there. But, man, I was like Jensen Button on time management. I just kept hitting my splits, exactly what I wanted to do. Everybody else was running off a little bit, not everybody else, but some people running off into the distance. And then on the last lap, I put the fucking afterburners on, mate. Last 5Ks, and I overtook so many people and finished 10 minutes earlier than I was aiming for. I felt really good about it.
You love to see it. That reminds me of back in the day when they used to do a celebrity race at the Grand Prix. There was one year where it was Rob Sitch, who's just good at everything he tries. And he was coming second behind, I forget who. But there was 5 laps. And then they interviewed him at the end and you're like, you must be happy to have finished second. He was like, I'm happy to finish second, except I was going to have a go for the lead on the last lap and then I miscounted the laps. I was like, oh man, that sucks. It pays to pay attention to the laps and give it everything on the last one. But maybe you've only got 5 laps, just give it everything every lap. But it's good to know your mental tricks. So I'm hoping to get back into not marathon running, but a little bit of jogging here and there, and I might put some of those tricks into practice. One thing that I find works well for me is that I pretend or I imagine that my daughter is running 5 meters ahead of me and I have to catch her. That genuinely helps me a lot. So I don't know. If you're someone else that's not me, don't imagine that because it'll seem creepy like you're trying to catch her in a bad way. But I mean, for me, I have to take care of her, so that's good. But I'm glad you did well, mate.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, I felt really good about it. Now I might go do a marathon, but now that seems double that seems like a lot. Seems like a real lot. But if you're running around, if you're doing some running, let's say anything more than 5K, and you've been wondering about entering a little race, just do some Googling. Find there's lots of good running communities and running groups and all that kind of stuff who run races, and they're always had a real good community vibe. And after, the pandemic, it's not after, but, because of the pandemic, those kinds of things haven't really been happening. So to do something like that, it was really nice. So, yeah, it's nice to finish a thing and everybody being like, good job. And people cheering you on at the end and all that kind of stuff. It was great. Really good.
You love to see it.
Top and tail my day, right? That was first thing on Sunday. And the Grand Prix was on at 8 p.m.
Oh,
I did.
I was going to say, gee.
Literally sat on the couch. Amber went and got me my doona and was like, why don't you just chill? And I was like, thank you.
I think I will. I don't think I have a choice in this. This is just what's happening.
Yeah. You can also just eat whatever you like after you've run a half marathon. Your body's just keep putting calories in, please. You go, okay, sure, whatever.
That's the other thing. I do remember Steve Monaghetti just hoeing down literally an entire block of Cadbury's chocolate before a marathon, just going I'm not going to get any fitter and I need all this energy, man. I'm like, oh man,
that was great.
Maybe I should have taken up marathon running. Just I do the preparation, I just don't do the running.
How are you though? You had you've got big things in Melbourne.
Yes, no runners high, but the restrictions, the lockdown. Lockdown technically ended, depending on what you think of as a lockdown, but it ended last week, and then this week, it's Not all bets are off, but it's getting closer to that. So I've got all of that high without having to do any running, which suits me.
The dream.
But just don't tell my body. So
what's your number one post-lockdown or the Freedom Day, post-Freedom Day thing that you have indulged or have had and enjoyed?
Haven't done it yet, but really waiting on a Parma. And I don't know if that's going to be like with the Parma crew, but or just, I don't even know, smash a solo Parma, the Parma Nights exactly. But we'll see who's around and if anyone's up for it, maybe that. But otherwise, just a Parma, just a Parma. I'd be happy with that. I'm a simple man.
For our non-Australian listeners, do you want to detail what a Parma is?
Sure, it's a palmy, basically. Think of a palmy, it's Parma. A Parmigiana. Yeah. Breaded chicken, cheese, tomato, maybe something on top if you're feeling fancy, bit of kangaroo, bit of, what else do people put on the fancy? The ham. Of course, the ham's a staple.
Jalapenos.
Jalapenos, yes, chilies.
Get a spicy Parma.
I'm trying to think of all the luxurious, funny, weird variations.
You might swap out the chicken for an eggplant or aubergine. Same thing.
If you hate having fun, yes. I guess you could do that. But
completely undermine the idea of what this is, which is it's
meant to be a good thing, an indulgent thing, a one-off thing. Yeah.
All served on a bed of chips.
On a chip, basically, yes. You get the plate, you cover it with chips until you can't fit any more food, and then you slop about 500 grams of chicken breast right on top of it. It's great.
chicken schnitzel on top
what you
with
need,
cheese,
yes, is half a bird worth of protein right on top of those chips. That's what you need.
God, you've got me absolutely gagging for a chicken parmigiana now.
Well, there's nowhere near me that delivers them. Otherwise, I might get one tonight. But no, it's getting late.
Get one.
Look,
anyway,
that's enough prattling on. We've got a job to do. It's the United States Grand Prix this week, so we're going to talk all about the big race at COTA. We're going to have a super quiz. We're going to look at the Super License Fantasy League. Nearly forgot what it was called. And, other stuff. You know what we do. Should we get into the race review / recap?
Yeah, I think the review / recap for the race is exactly where we should go.
Perfect.
Let us race a bit. I gave him space.
Wreck my bones, man.
Let's hurry up and get out of here. We've got a race to do.
So every week, Zach, just to get everybody up to speed. Maybe you haven't seen the race. Maybe you're like, I don't want you guys to waste your breath just summarizing the main stuff. Get through all the main stuff nice and quick, and then we can go into deep dive and all the interesting stuff. So that's what we do. We do a 30-second recap. Apparently, oh dear, I'm looking at the notes now and realizing this is my turn. So, haven't stretched. Definitely no practice running marathons or anything for this, but I guess I'll give it a go.
Have you got your gummies for halfway through to give you a bit
is that what you did?
Sugar rush?
That's interesting.
Yeah,
cool.
I had Percy piglets in.
I just imagine
saran wrap, dad wrap.
It would be like a support team on the side, just giving you whatever you want. That's what I imagine, but I guess
hand
not.
you waters, but they're not going to hand you your gummy sweet of choice.
Nice.
Maybe I was cheating.
I'll look into this.
Don't know. Don't tell anyone.
Performance enhancing gummies. I guess I've got 30 seconds on the clock. We'll play the little sound, and that way I know when to stop. Otherwise, who knows when I'm going to stop. But this is the United States Grand Prix summed up in 30 seconds. Here I go. Verstappen showed the speed advantage in qualifying, but Lewis Hamilton jumped into the lead. And was that ever going to last? Well, Verstappen hung onto the back of him and was able to shut him down during the pit stop strategy. Really dominant win, I think, from Verstappen. Lots of good clashes, and it was a good, exciting race right until the end. Hamilton was sort of pressing, but I don't know that he was ever realistically going to win the race. Perez finished in P3. Should they have sacrificed him and gone for a fastest lap? Martin Brundle got himself in trouble with some celebrities, and then there's lots of action between. Well, you have to wait and find out who the action was between, because that's the buzzer. Not my best effort, but I did okay.
We'll never know. I thought you got. I think that you paced yourself. You took inspiration from my run, and you went through and just took us through all the important stuff, and that's how we do here.
Anyway, you want to start with all of this?
Where would I like to start? Why don't we let's just start at the front then, because it was a weekend where everyone was talking about the undercut, how powerful the undercut was. You just got to pit early, pit solidly, pit with commitment. And I thought that it was just going to be like, okay, well, Verstappen will pit, he'll pull the undercut, that'll work on Hamilton, and then Hamilton will just do the same thing later, and then he'll win. because Verstappen blinked first. But it didn't work out that way. Because, I mean, why? Because Verstappen's really good. Was it maybe Mercedes' strategy has been a little bit all over the shop these last, 8 years? They can't quite get it right when they're pushed. I don't know. Is that an imagined narrative on my part? But I don't know. It feels like we've been talking about that for at least a couple of years now. That Mercedes' strategy is okay, but not like world leading.
I think that Red Bull have been able to maximize their maximize their strategy a lot recently because they're now competitive and they've relied on strategy for the whole Mercedes dominant period to get them even close, let alone snatch a win here and there. So they're sharp and they're on their game. And now that they're even or ahead on performance, their strategy, they're able to run circles around Mercedes, frankly. I know that Toto Wolff called the Red Bull strategy like it was not risky, but he was like that was aggressive. That was an aggressive strategy that they ran. And I know that Christian Horner said that I wasn't sure. I was at the end of that stint because we pitted so early for the second stop, and the tires were so bald when we finished the race. I just didn't know exactly what was going to happen. We thought we might have got out of the pit wrong. So I mean, both of them were maybe not super confident about what was going to happen, but. I think that it's telling that having undercut Hamilton in the first set of pit stops, Hamilton then has to make a decision, do I pit and react straight away, or do I extend and try and give myself a bit of tire life down the track? So then when Verstappen pits the second time, you've really got to be like, well, he's going to be charging. He's faster than me because he took pole. And even when I got the jump on him, he hung on to me pretty handily. I didn't drop him. So then Hamilton has really only one option left, which is try to extend as long as you can, pit as late as you can, and then get some fresh tires and charge. That's what he did, but he just didn't really, to me, look too threatening. I don't know. The spoiler alert is that I got the result spoiled. So I think that really affects when you watch the race. You're like, I know who's going to win. So it takes some of that uncertainty away, and it seems a lot more obvious than maybe it was if you were watching it live. But for me, I was like, well, I know Verstappen's going to win. So you're watching what Hamilton's going to do a little bit differently.
Yeah, it's always difficult, I think. The chance of spiciness decreases if you know that like final push is going to be kind of over 5 laps. Because if it's anything more than that, for someone to, they've done their pit stop and now they're going to reel in the leader. It can happen further down the grid too, but if it's like, okay, well, they're going to be like a second and a half, 2 seconds faster every lap, and they're only going to make up 10 seconds. So this will happen in 4 or 5 laps. Whereas this was like, well, he's like really far behind and he's not like 2 seconds a lap faster consistently. And it always gets muddled up. You can't really get a good read on it because Verstappen was working his way through back markers and then Hamilton would catch the back markers at different points on the track. So at some laps it was like, he was a full 2 seconds faster. And other laps he's like, he's still 0.6 of a second faster. And then when he got within like 3 seconds, Verstappen was like, all right, I'm going to push now. Because I've been saving my tires because I knew you were coming. Like I could see you really far off. There's no... that was always going to be the strategy. So Verstappen could hold something in reserve. And once Hamilton got within kind of 1.6, 1.7 seconds, he's in the dirty air then. The Red Bull's not super slow. The Mercedes always struggles to follow. And by that stage, Hamilton I don't think he had enough edge in his tires to make up the difference. So it was a shame that it wasn't really on. It felt like for a long time that it was going to be like, they're just going to crash into each other. In fact, I was texting a friend about it. It was like, he's like, you watching the race? Oh my God, it's going to happen. And I was like, it's probably going to happen. But then it didn't happen. So it did not max for happen. So,
Red Bull also had the advantage of having Perez in play, not, fighting with them, as in like a pack of 3, but more like in that window, they say. Interfering, Hamilton's potential pit stops by being like, if you pit, I'm right here. If you pit, I'm right here. Just think about that. Which Mercedes didn't have that card to play. But anyway.
I mean, it's interesting because this now makes it, it's a relatively big gap between Verstappen and Hamilton now. Yeah, what are we at? Yeah, 10 points, 12 points even.
Oh.
And so we've got, what did we say we had? 5 races left, something like that.
Something like that. I mean, it's like 6 races in 4 weeks or something. It's nuts. But we're fast running out of races. The thing is, though, that
5 races left.
Verstappen could DNF, and if Hamilton wins, I mean, he turns that around and then he extends the lead by even more. So, I mean, anything could still happen because it is so close. But there's definitely
Hamilton
sentiment
in a position though, right, where he can't make a mistake now. Like, because if he DNFs, then it's essentially game over.
In that scenario, there's definitely sentiment out there that I think the tide might be starting to turn back towards Verstappen now as the outright favourite for the year, which will be interesting to see.
Got some engine problems too at Mercedes. Toto Wolff, very clear, it was about like we're struggling to get our orders out to the other teams, let alone like get our own engines sorted.
I wonder what's causing that.
Oh, they just they've been busy, they've been tired. All this racing, all this effort. I think Red Bull's got things kind of locked down. They don't have to, like, Red Bull's only supplying. Well, Honda is only supplying one other team, right? Whereas Mercedes have got to supply everybody with good shit all the time. It's tricky. It's tricky business. And if something goes wrong, there's ramifications all across the board. And constantly having to decide between who to give the best parts to. Do you give them to your multi-world champion who's signed a new contract? Or do you give them to Bottas, who couldn't give a shit about anything, it seems?
Who just is also there.
Who exists? Who is that?
Bottas exists, exactly. Good call. I want to move on to another point, which is this one. And I mean, we've been talking recently about, there's a red flag and the driver, or maybe the team principals get up and go and talk to Michael Massey or send him special emails to his email address, which is, Michael.Massey, funboy at intheclub.biz or whatever. And now we're getting on the radio and we're getting passive aggressive with him, which is pretty interesting. When he had the Alonso and a Raikkonen, and Raikkonen's trying to push around the outside. Alonso sort of pushes him a bit wide, and then Raikkonen holds in to get the inside line on the next corner, and they get on the radio and they're like, so what? We can just overtake around the outside now? Can we off track? Can we do that? Pretty sure that's against the rule.
Yeah, I love arguments like this too, because it's, that it's not faster out there, right? He's off track, offline, off grid.
Well, I mean,
he's gone further around.
Him off the track, or did you push him off the track? Or you could have a bet each way.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. But you're going to lose both. It was funny watching these two old guys pushing each other. It's good racing. It's good racing, and they do give each other room. It annoys me though that whenever I think that, it's like, oh, good, they didn't really hit each other. There's a little bit of like some sparks flew, but nothing like really horrible. No one was taking each other out, anything like that. They're only taking each out for drinks after the race, not taking each other out during the race.
But someone pointed out the combined age is 82 or something.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
But then every single time this happens, and I'm like, oh yeah, great, that's good energetic fighting. One or both of them get to the ready, like, did you see that?
Yeah.
Bad. That was bad from the other guy. What the fuck's going on? It's like, oh, God, you all talk about wanting competitive racing, but if anything happens where you might lose out a little bit, every single driver whinges.
Yeah, it's true.
I think that's been interesting because there's been a lot of chat this year of like, oh, isn't like non-Team LH fans are all like, oh, Hamilton's a big whinger, and then Team LH fans are like, Verstappen's the biggest whinger of them all, and then Leclerc says one thing, or Lando says, like, all of them are all exactly the same. They are all complainers. They all whinge about each other. They all whinge about the car, about the track, about the conditions, about the pit stops, everything. So I don't think any one of them is more or less of a whinger. We just don't hear all the radio calls. I'm sure that Mick Schumacher's on the radio being like, why is this piece of junk still a piece of junk?
Yes.
Can you do anything about it, please? And can you tell Nikita Mazepin to get out of my way? And I'm sure Giovinazzi is doing exactly the same thing. Like, it's crap.
Yeah, maybe other than Tsunoda. The rest of them, I would say it's not in their character to be whingers all the time. But unfortunately, F1 has sort of dug this hole for itself, and it's like, it's nowhere near as bad as like diving in football, soccer, but it's in the same ballpark, which is there's a competitive advantage if I say or do this thing. So I'm always going to say or do this thing, whether it's true or not. In fact, I'm going to exaggerate it beyond all, reality. So yeah, I actually think they should stamp it out. I just think, I don't know, something has to be done. It has to be some way of
that the team should be allowed to like go to the he's not even the steward, he's just the race director. Like what? Everybody's allowed to go, because I mean this is the difference in, like you mentioned soccer, like, but it's not like the coaches of the team can turn up and be like, or the managers can go over to the referee and be like, did you see that tackle? You need to tell people to review that tackle, and then they go and review it. Like that's not anything. I don't understand why they even have a line to the FA, like to the stewards. Yeah, but they essentially are. They're like, hey, we've got all this data, we've got all the footage, you need to go and review this right now. It's like, we're running a race. Like, I just, like this idea of like appealing. Just get rid of it. I don't like it. I'm with you. Just get it all out. The team shouldn't be like, oh, well, did you see X? Maybe do that after the race, but no, not during.
Have you thought about maybe not?
Have you thought about maybe not?
There you go. Well, you talked about sparks flying.
Though, good battling.
It was good driving, good battling, but I was going to use that to segue into this point, which is good battling between McLaren and Ferrari. Ooh, 3 wide in some corners there. In fact, I think it was 2 McLarens and one of them, one of the Ferraris, maybe it was Sainz, because it's usually the Sainz. And they were going 3 wide into a corner, and they all had to kind of pull up because there was another Ferrari right in front of them of Leclerc. Like, don't forget that guy. Sparks flying between Ricciardo and Sainz in particular. Ricciardo just saying that's just a bit of rubbing, that's fine. And then Sainz saying, ooh, that was cheeky, pushed me off the road there and deliberately there. You hit me on purpose. You little ragamuffin. Friendly. I mean, that was the friendly fighting that you want to see. But it was all on.
It is all on. And I like, because they care about it, but they also know that they don't want to really crash. So I think they know each other pretty well. And I don't think... I mean, out of those two, I hate to say it, but Sainz is the guy who's more likely to get on and be like, hey, what the fuck happened there? He pushed me off the track, or he got too close to me. I don't know.
It's true. I was watching
brand. You don't hear a lot of Ricciardo whinging, but maybe that's because he's always the aggressor. Like, he's always the guy who's like, I'm going to send it up the inside and see what happens.
Maybe. Maybe they're selective. This is like, we've had this conversation before about whether F1 is a reality program or not. Maybe they're like, that's not in Daniel's character. We don't want to broadcast him whinging because,
it is. Yeah.
Could be a bit of that, selective editing. I was going to say, watching the replays though, because Sainz was a bit like, not whinging, but he was like, that's cheeky that he pushed me off there.
Yeah.
I think if watching the onboard from Sainz, it looks as though Ricciardo kind of snakes through the line as if he's sort of like left, right, left, right, left, right. He's not actually doing that. But I guess that's why he was thought, oh, well, he pushed me there. From watching from one of the like trackside cameras, though, you see that Ricciardo is like on and off the accelerator and he spins up his rear wheels and gets a snap of like oversteer. So he's just straightening up to catch it again. That's all it was. That's nothing. It's nothing. It's just nothing. Just be relaxed like Ricciardo and put on a cowboy hat, shave your beard into some mutton chops and just get over it, mate.
I don't know.
What do you think of Ricciardo's embrace of this US style? He launched a clothing line that was NASCAR inspired. He wears these cowboy hats all the time, and it's like, I just don't know who you are anymore.
He's just having fun with it, I guess. I think he's just like, you know what? Let your hair down if you've got it. Just go after it. Be silly.
It is silly. I do like Daniel a lot, but he does say like, all of these things are so like they're so close to my heart and who I am, and I'm like, I fucking hate all those things.
Okay,
I just don't like any of the things that you're using as inspiration for your like clothing line and stuff. Like I just don't like any of it.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
I mean, we've talked about this before. It's the third time I feel like we've said that on this show. Like motorsport's a funny thing. It takes all comers. Motorsport is it's a bit like, I feel like it's a little bit like climate activists. You've got like young millennials and Gen Zers who are like, really well organized and articulate and like infuriated and like want to take, like progressive action. And then you've got like old hippies who are like, well, don't be so organized, like chill about it, but let's like tie ourselves to trees. And like, it's essentially kind of all the same movement, but like disparate groups. And I think Formula One is like that. It draws motorsport fans who are like fans of all motorsport, whether they like NASCAR or they like V8 supercars or they like the new Extreme E, whatever, right? And then you've got people like you and I who are really only interested in Formula One and not really any other motorsport. Then you've just got people who have watched Drive to Survive and are interested in the drama. So they're a difficult audience to pin down, Formula One fans, which I like. I think that's really good. But then, yeah, you do get stuck with stuff where you're like, I'm just not interested in this at all. Like, why is this part of the sport? This doesn't cross over with any of my interests. But I'm sure other people are like, why is it just Rolex ads and ads for like Saudi oil and also big banks? I don't like, why is any of that?
And beer with no alcohol in it. What is this sport? This is also on the back of you, like last race, which was 2 weeks ago, saying, why doesn't everyone like Lewis Hamilton and just rock up at the grid wearing like their pants as a jumper and their jumper as pants and like, you know, like they've spray painted their hair pink and stuff like that? Why isn't everyone doing that?
Exactly.
Just do
it in the way that I want, which is high fashion and avant-garde, not like crappy moustaches and just Stetson hats.
We're talking a lot about US. I thought it was particularly noteworthy in the commentary this week that they were very sensitive with how they handled everything. So that meant that like every 5 laps, it seemed they were stopping to tell you the story of the race, explain in as much detail what was going on. They do that to a degree always, but it felt like if you watch the race at Silverstone, they wouldn't be stopping every 3 laps and explaining. Now, if he pits here, that's going to be this. Now, that's going to affect this thing because of that thing. And it's like, oh boy. It really felt like they were over-explaining to the US audience, maybe kissing the ring of liberty, maybe like giving a tour of the facilities to some potential new buyers down the track. But it was very evident to me listening to the commentary for this race that it was like, remember who you're talking to. This is for do this one. If none others, do this one for the US audience. Give us this one.
Yeah, well, it's not just the US audience, right? It's like all of North America, even like it's a whole.
It's Canada. Apparently, it's the Canadian drivers' home race this week. I was like, what the fuck? We go to Canada to race there. It's like having a race in New Zealand and being like, well, this is the Australian home. You know, I mean, I'm as close to Singapore as Texas is to Montreal.
yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, there was a funny point, I think, where David Croft said something about the undercut and was like, oh, Martin, could you just explain the value of the what the undercut means? And Brundle just went on a completely different, like he went 3 steps further ahead, which is fine. But I don't think it was the kind of like primary detail that Croft was expecting, because Brundle was like, well, what it means is that, 6 extra laps of good tires at the end of the race. And I was like, I think he was asking you to explain what the word undercut even means.
Yeah, what does it mean?
Like
what's being cut? Insight. Who's above? Who's under?
Yeah, exactly. It means come in early so that you can get a bit of an advantage, and then change the time a little bit so that when they pit, they come out behind you. Like simple as that. Mm-hmm. But maybe not. Maybe Brundle's on a different wavelength.
Maybe he was distracted by something that we'll finish on after we touch on this next point. But maybe Brundle was still just distracted and thinking what he would have said different. He was reeling, absolutely. He was on the back foot, just caught off guard in a tizzy. I didn't even think of this, but I did see some tweets and stories going around saying, why didn't Red Bull pit Perez? And he would have missed out on P3, but maybe we would have snatched fastest lap away from Hamilton. I was like, I didn't think of that, but that's a juicy one. What do you make of that?
I think it's risky. I think it's always risky to do stuff like that. 1 point, I was literally about to say 1 point's not going to decide the championship.
It might.
It probably might. Probably might is not anything. It could. No. But, there's Constructors' Championship.
Definitely could.
2. Where are the teams ranked right now? So
I was thinking of the teams.
Mercedes is 460 and Red Bull is 437. That's 22.5 points.
Yeah.
That matters. We're talking a difference if he had pitted. There's every chance Leclerc would have got him. Don't think Ricciardo would have, but you never know. It is inherently risky to pit. A wheel gun can break. You can not put the nut on properly.
Someone else could steal fastest lap instead of you.
That's right.
I think that if he was running,
just at that moment, who knows?
If he was running out of the podium places, then it might have been a live option. I think also with Verstappen winning, it's almost like, well, he can't really like double win. He's not going to extra win. He's still going to win. He's still going to beat Hamilton and get a nice chunk of points. Don't sacrifice my chance at a podium, buddy. I think there's a little bit of that at play as well.
Yeah, look, and if Hamilton was winning, Verstappen was stuck behind him, he would have, and there was a gap to Perez. I can imagine that Verstappen would have pitted and tried to get fastest lap. No, and you know what? if you've got a chance to have two guys on the podium, remember what Red Bull's in Formula One for. The brand. Like, it's a marketing vehicle. That's the only reason they're in it. So if you can have two guys up there, showing all the sponsors' logos, doing all the thing, doing it, being in every single, two guys out of three in all the interviews, taking up all the TV time, all the clips, everything like that, you do that every single time, I would say. Because the
I think a double podium, it's worth more than 1 point, actually.
Yes, exactly. Come round to the marketing dark side, Rod.
Should we get to the Martin Brundle thing?
Yeah, to explain it to me, because all I've seen is the furor. I actually had this on the television, and because I was like, oh yeah, grid walk. We haven't had that for a while.
I didn't see
I was
it.
talking about something else, so I muted it, and so I just saw stuff happening, and then all the furor and Brundle's tweet about, oh my god, why is this like this?
Yes, exactly.
So tell me about it.
I'll give you the Brundle tweet first, then we'll go through the story. Here's Martin Brundle's tweet. I've felt under pressure on the grid before, but by people called Senna, Prost, Schumacher, Mansell, Piquet, and so on. Bodyguards visiting the grid for the first time don't bother me. Everyone's got a job to do. But they could maybe learn some minutes and respect us on our patch with a little thinking emoji. So you must be thinking, wow, that sounds serious. So here's what happened. This is from a write-up on motorsport.com, but I'm just going to read it because it's funny.
Cool.
Here's the headline.
Already
Sky Formula One expert Martin Brundle has urged celebrity entourages to show some, quote, manners and respect after a grid walk spurn with rapper Megan Thee Stallion at the United States Grand Prix. I'll skip down to some more interesting stuff. An attempt to speak to the rapper MTS was rebuffed as her entourage tried to push Brundle out of the way. Quote, I think she's happy, okay, boss, says Brundle to an aggressive bodyguard before asking the artist if she had any rap for F1. After she replied, saying, I have no rap today, I'm sorry. Brundle asked who she would be supporting before another minder stepped in. One of MTS's crew then told him he, quote, couldn't do that, before Brundle hit back and said, I can do that because I did. So good. And then it quotes like other celebrities like Serena Williams who have ignored him and other general times where he's tried to get a comment from someone. Normally he's very good at it. He's just, have you got a word? And they'll just like roll their shoulders away and he'll be like, no, I guess not. Okay, I'll just leave Justin Bieber alone then or whatever. But the fact that it's Megan Thee Stallion and he's like, look, I'm not gonna let someone who I don't even know who she is put me down and, make me look the fool on my home court. No way. And it's like, well, mate, she's pretty popular.
Yeah, man. I was having a conversation about sports and who with a friend of mine and fame, and he was like, "Oh, come on! Like everyone in the world knows who like the heavyweight boxer like champion right now is like the world heavyweight."
No, I would have no idea.
And I was like, I literally have no clue. And he's like, "You're joking! Like way more people."
Evander Holyfield
like,
still
like,
box? Or?
Oh, psh! Like
Manny Pacquiao, was he even boxing? No.
It's Mike Tyson still. But like the know who like I know you're into Formula 1, like the F1 world champion, and I was like, I don't know if those are both niches. Actually, I would say like that's the funny thing. And so we quickly canvassed the other two people who were sitting with us, and he's like, who the world heavyweight champion is, and they're like, one of them said Mike Tyson, and they were like, I've literally no clue, but they both knew who the world champion of Formula 1 was.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
Now. And Lewis Hamilton is very, very, very famous. And a consistent winner as well. He's a bankable bet. Like, like if anybody had asked me who like the MotoGP champion was at any point in the last, 15 years, or it has been like Valentino Rossi. He's like the only guy I know. Yeah, Rossi, or maybe I think the other guy's Mark Marquez, but I think that's because I didn't remember his name because it's two marks.
It's two marks. That's too many.
But
marks.
My point is that I think Brundle has it wrong. I hate to say it.
Yeah, no shit. That's why I'm reading all this and making fun of him.
Yeah, and I think Formula 1 has it wrong too. Like I think
the
Formula 1 community totally has it wrong as well. It's like the broadcast is not the sport, guys. Like Formula 1 probably didn't even organise for those celebrities to be there. The race promoter did. Like COTA organised for those celebrities to be there and made all of that happen. We're like, we're going to get these 20 celebrities. Ben Stiller, who's never been to a race, I'm sure he had a great time.
Oh, Ben Stiller.
Every time they flashed him, he's like, just like standing there being like, I have to wear my mask in this fucking garage. Can I have a drink? Can I do anything? No, just stand here. And they always look so bored. Whenever they flash to any celebrity in a garage, they always look so fucking bored.
Unless it's Rowan Atkinson. He gives it a go.
Yeah, well, because he's a big car guy. you know? Will Smith seems to enjoy it as well whenever he's around. But
that's the other thing.
No,
I think Will Smith is a really interesting comparison because he's there to get views on Instagram back to Formula One, not the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. And look, the celebrities are there because it's good for their brand, and there's a bit of a halo effect for Formula One generally.
Yes,
but it's just
exactly.
about like shares, Instagram, highlights,
Being in the
all
scene.
of that kind of bullshit.
Making the scene.
That's it. Yeah, and so it's got like none of them. Like Brundle has no Formula One journalist or presenter has any right to go and talk to them, and they shouldn't be expected to be talked back to because it's not.
That's the
Sorry,
thing.
it's not the
I
thing.
I don't know whether Brundle was instructed, go and talk to her, do not take no for an answer. But it's like, Mr. Martin Brundle, I respectfully ask you, why do you want to go and talk to Megan Thee Stallion?
Yeah.
I don't. Why, that's the broader question. What are you doing talking to her? What are you going to talk to her about? Has she got a rap for F1? What fucking kind of question is that?
Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing.
Okay, boss.
So,
gee.
yeah, I don't know. Like he might as well be. It's so sad, but like he might as well. Like, why don't we have more piece to camera stuff like that where he's just like walking around the paddock talking to us? Why don't you go into the paddock club experience section and find all celebrities in there midway through the race and ask them questions? Like, because it's all just nothing. It doesn't. It's not anything. It's just content. It's just more meaningless content.
And if you were meant to talk
they
to
need
Megan
to burn the
Thee
time
Stallion,
somehow.
it would have been cleared and organised months in advance for you to go and talk to her, and she'd be wearing a specific outfit. You'd have your questions all pre-approved, and it would all have happened. You don't just. I don't know.
No, I can't really watch the grid walk because I get too uncomfortable because he's out of his depth. They're all out of their
You've got
depth.
30 seconds.
Like,
You've got 30 seconds. Like, no,
Yeah,
they're
I
playing
just
the national anthem already. It started.
Yeah, I don't know. It's yuck. It's stupid. I don't think you need it. Like, or go around and just talk to all the the only thing you should be doing is talking to the drivers and teams. I feel like that's the only thing of value because I might learn something. It's a little bit interesting.
I hope
but
that
maybe not so much anymore because all the drivers and teams all have their own voices now. Like this used to be a moment where you would maybe hear from, a guy at Manor Racing. You hear from Pascal Verlaine because you don't hear from him very much. He'd be like, "How you feeling? Oh, look, he's got his headphones on there, and what are you doing? You warm ups?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm just stretching out, trying to relax, all that kind of stuff." Or you talk to one of the engineers, or you might get a bit of Eccleston on the track, and he'd say something controversial. But now, like they all have their own platforms, so I'm not learning anything. I'm not doing anything. Like it's just filler. It's all just filler. Like I still don't understand how Sky can start covering the race like 3 hours before it even starts. What do they talk about?
Qualifying, of course. But the thing is about the grid walk. I hope that his style of grid walk retires with him, and that they rethink it.
He's never going to retire.
Oh boy, imagine that! Just a head in the box, head in the jar. Just talking about, he was a day late and $1 short. And they're tapping on the jar and tapping security in the top.
Yeah, Paul DeResta is carrying him around with the microphone held in front of it.
Yeah. It's bad when he started just recycling Murray Walker's old phrases. It's like you used to have your phrases. You have catchphrases that people are sick of. Just use them. Anyway, we should move on. Love you, Martin. Time to move on to Fantasy Focus, where we look at the Fantasy League and pull up our results and just see how badly we did. So do you want to do the race or the league?
I can do the race. Let me just pull it up.
Ready?
Here it is. I've got it right here in front of me. Ready to go. I've got in third place, I have Tangelo Racing from Tony Saint with 173 points. Woofa doofa. And then we have Why Can't I Beat My Bro from Emerson Susan O'Donnell, 177 points. I can't explain it, but I think maybe, unless your bro is Michael B, I think you have beaten your bro this week. Although Michael B did finish first with Team Gunter's Choice, 198 points, almost a double ton there. Bowled out, second ball before close of play on 198. Bad luck, but go again in a couple of weeks' time. Do you want me to find where we finished?
I know where we finished in the league. I had a sneaky look at that earlier today. But I've got an announcement to make at the end of this segment. But let me know if you want me to whip through the podium for the league. Otherwise, if you find us,
whip through the podium for the league. Go on. Oh no, I found you. There you are.
Here we go.
You came 70th.
Right there, 70th
with
out of 81,
74 points.
Yeah, not great.
It's not great. That is not great. Did I do any better? Where am I? There I am. I came 64th with 114 points. Cracked
That's
the
what I'm talking
ton.
about.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it then. Here's the top 3 for the league overall.
Wait. Yeah, go on. Yes. Sorry, I got the numbers wrong, but it's fine.
Because everyone's listening thinking, nice, Zach's got the numbers wrong there. No, pause the podcast. Go back. We'll write an email, demand that they correct this egregious error. Top 3 for the league. Position number 3, Leclerc Aerodynamics by manager Tim T. Brown. That's hard for me to say. Position number 2, Team Tangelo Racing by Tony Saint. Pretty close, still at play, I would say, between those two, but then there's just as big a gap between them and the clear leader this week. Didn't go up in the league any positions, only because there's none to go up, but Team Yaknat and French Castle by Flurge. Well, there's still a nice little buffer out there in front. Scrolling, as you've already said, you did a little better than me. So we were neck and neck for the longest time. I swear we must have had the identical team. But I made some tweaks, and these tweaks seem to have not gone terrifically well for me. So this is it. It's Hail Mary time for me. I'm going to have to make some more tweaks, and then I'll either just crash and burn, or I'll reclaim the slight advantage that I had. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Good.
Thanks.
No worries.
I'm glad I got your blessing. I would have done it anyway, because who cares? And see you like eat my dust when I beat you.
I noticed that I don't have any Mercedes at all in my team when I was checking my team again. I've got no changes left, and I was like, I don't have Lewis or Bottas or Mercedes.
Yeah, I don't either.
Team. I'm in trouble.
No.
You can see why I'm not doing well.
No, I think you're doing fine. I think actually you should make lots of changes and
pay for the
think about some of them
all that
kind
kind of
drivers.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Can we move on to the Superquiz?
Yes, please.
We will accept a couple of questions.
Should one only win one? Would one want to have won that one in round 1?
Can you repeat the question?
Ready to give it to you quizzy style. Zach, it's your turn this week to quiz me with some questions.
I should have done something rap-based after the furor. But I went a different way. Naz, can't you believe it? We're doing a NASCAR quiz.
Can't believe it.
In celebration
After I paid it out
Daniel
earlier.
Ricciardo. Yeah, he was really keen on driving Dale Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt? That
Junior.
feels right.
I know that.
Yep. It's a cool looking car. He really wanted to drive it around, and Zach Brown was like, I think we own that car or something.
I've got one of those. It's in my garage.
Yeah, we can make that happen. Just drive it around. And Daniel was like, I'm going to be really careful. And then afterwards he was like, I was pretty careful actually because it was hard to drive. It's fair enough.
Slow.
So I don't know anything about NASCAR, and I don't think you do either. And so instead of doing lots of research and finding out about NASCAR, I thought we'd do a wrong answers only please quiz. I'm going to ask you questions. I've got some possible answers, but I'm not going to read them out, and you can just give me wrong answers and just be as dumb
So
as
what
you
you're
want.
saying is I have to give you the wrong answer, but you've also got written down the wrong answer. So
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
excellent.
My version of the wrong answer. So we're just going to have a bit of fun, explore the space. So Rod, to put you on the to reverse the order here, and instead of giving
how
you a
many
nice
questions
easy
have
one.
we got here?
Sorry, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions.
Okay, cool.
All NASCAR related in the Naz. Can you believe we're doing a NASCAR quiz? Here we go. Question number Question number 1. What does NASCAR stand for?
Stands for naughty and spicy
Yeah.
car, automobile, radical.
I thought you were going to go with race. But you got out. Naughty and
spicy car, automobile, radical, I think.
Yes, I like that. We would have also accepted not a silly car again, Reginald, which was actually the inventor of NASCAR, Reginald Stock, and his wife was like, God, again?
Reginald Left Turn.
Yeah, exactly. So that's 1 out of 1. Good job. Why are NASCAR cars called stock cars?
It's actually because when it rains, you can collect the water and make a nice little broth and make some chicken soup. It's good.
That's very good. We would have also accepted that all the cars are exactly the same from the factory, and the only thing that makes them faster is the paint job.
Very good.
Yes. Question number 3, Rod. 2 from 2. Well done. Question number 3. What is the most successful car in the history of NASCAR?
Herbie the Love Bug.
Oh, so close. It's Lightning McQueen.
Oh, no. I should have gone
but
with
I'm
that.
gonna
My
give
daughter
you-
will hate me.
Yeah. Look, I'll give you half a point for that. So 2.5 out of 3. Not bad.
I won't even mention that Lightning McQueen drives in the Piston Cup, but yeah.
How do you know that's not a race for the NASCAR? How do you know that's not a NASCAR?
Valid point.
Right, I don't know. Question number 4. How many laps is the Daytona 500?
Think I've heard this. I've heard of this one. This is the one that I've heard of. This is what I know about NASCAR. Indy 500.
Nope. Daytona 500, not the
Daytona
Indy 500.
500. Well, that's
Indy
what I'm
500 is a different
confused.
thing. Don't worry. I definitely Googled that. I went, how many laps in the Indy 500? And they're like, well, the IndyCar race, IndyCar. I was like, oh, no, this is NASCAR. What's the other 500? Daytona.
There you go. Okay, then. I played a lot of Daytona when I was young, so I've got this in the bag. I think it's 3 laps. It's time extended 3 laps.
That's it. It's 3 laps. On a good year, it's 3. Other years, they just stick them out for a couple of days until everyone gets bored and stops watching. So they just, you just bug them on there and you go.
It is a 2-hour limit if you don't
do
do the 500 laps, then you just get disqualified.
You would expect it to be 500, right? It's actually 200.
Well, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's 500 miles? Is that the idea? No.
I fucked if I know, mate. Who cares? Last one, Rod. Question number 5. You're on, 3.5 we said.
Smashing,
that feels right. How fast are NASCARs?
So fast.
They're so fast, but no one really knows because they get up some speed and then they got to turn left again. It's just another corner always around the corner. So
if only they could just go straight.
Yeah. Just straight. They just endlessly turning left into oblivion, which is where this quiz could go if I just kept asking stupid NASCAR questions. You got 4.5 out of 5. Not bad.
Fantastic. I'm pretty happy with that. Spewing, I didn't get Lightning McQueen first go, but yeah, anyway, I'll let that go.
Okay.
Let that slide. Huge apologies. He'll be the love bug, exactly. You can tell I'm 40. Apologies to all our US listeners who like NASCAR. Obviously, I was joking for the last 30 minutes or so. It was all a joke.
I wasn't.
It's a funny character that I play for the podcast.
You guys should meet the real Rod outside of the podcast. He's kind. He loves lots of things.
And he talks like this.
God.
Final thoughts, Zach? Final thoughts? Wishing you hadn't heard me say that?
Yeah, do I have some final thoughts? I don't have anything prepped.
Okay, I do. If you want me to buy time for you.
Yeah, please.
A while ago, you came to me with a question. That question was, Rod, should we be putting our podcast on YouTube? And I said, I suppose we could. And you went, what we could do is take the audio and we could, no, this is okay. You could take the audio and just put our podcast artwork as the visual and then just put it on YouTube. And then like people could listen if they needed to or wanted to. I was like, that's a good idea. In fact, I think our hosting supplier just like offers that. You click a button and it does it. So I messaged you back 10 minutes later going, it's done, my friend. Ever since then, all of our podcasts have been going out on YouTube as well as whatever you're listening to on, dear listener. And then I noticed the other day that YouTube has upgraded our videos so that you can look at our beautiful logo, which is, I think, 5 years old now, probably due for an upgrade. You can look at the beautiful logo while you listen to us in stunning 4K resolution. Can you believe it, Zach? Can you believe it?
4K.
Get a $5,000, 89-inch TV, put it up on your wall and just watch our logo sit there statically, not even moving or sliding side to side or anything. Just sits there while you listen to us on YouTube.
Could you make a repeating little video for that has the Super License logo, like helmet, just bouncing around the screen like the old DVD, like DVD power, whatever it was.
We've got a lot of
black screen.
We've got a lot of very talented people listening to this show who probably have more time than me, but please someone make that. That would be great.
Yeah.
And then the logo would change through the spectrum of hues as well as it bounces around.
Yeah, as it bounced. Yeah, exactly. That
would make my day if someone did that. Tell you what.
Final
thoughts, Zach?
Final thought. It was, the race being on at 8 p.m. was a delightful end to the weekend. It just reminded me of all the great Sunday evenings we've spent together.
Oh, yeah, would have had that
some
kind
nice
of
warm
feel.
fuzzies.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which is really nice, but it's such a good time. 8 p.m. was just the ultimate weekend wind down for me.
Great.
But not for everybody else, because everybody else in my household, my partner being one of them, because it's just like, oh, okay. So
I guess we're not watching a Fraser episode like you said we were. Okay,
yeah, exactly. That's fine. It doesn't happen very often, and it was good. It was a nice
I don't
little
know.
thing.
That's why I like the 10 o'clock start, because it just it doesn't interfere with anything, and you still get the whole weekend day. And I don't know.
Yeah, I've whinged about this before. The 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. starts on a Sunday is real really pierces your day. It's really like, wow, could you do much before? Not really. Can you do much after? Oh, you're kind of late in the afternoon now, actually. Like it's a real day wrecker, this Formula One stuff.
I've been toying with the idea for a long time about when there's a race that's a good time for everybody, we'll just jump in the Discord and we'll have a little chat party while we watch the race and we just all talk to each other. But it's just, I'm not sure that there is even any races that are in a great time zone for everybody. It just doesn't seem to work.
No. Maybe we need like a third party race in space, maybe.
Oh, there you go. International waters, maybe. Maybe on that planet, on Interstellar, where time goes really slowly so that we just get it out of the way really quickly. I don't know.
But you come back and then the people who are watching it have aged 40 years. But the drivers haven't aged at all.
Jeez.
I'm sure Raikkonen and Alonso would love that. That was actually going to be my quiz this week. I was going to do old versus young and do numbers of wins and stuff for people over 40 in Formula One right now versus people under 30, because you kind of cut out Lewis and Vettel there, so you might get some interesting stats. But then aggregating stats takes ages. I don't think pay off it in there, so I made up a Nascar quiz instead.
Now to get one done in 3 weeks' time. There is going to be, this is also fair warning, we were talking about this before and we sort of alluded to it during the show, but there's 1 week off, so we'll do a shakedown next week, and then there's something like 5 races in 6 weeks. So we normally do a quiz every week, but I'm just warning you now, some of them might be pretty loosey-goosey, off the cuff, improvised. They're not
Twitter profile pics coming back.
Yeah, I'd actually like that. That'd be fun. Let's do that. I'm just saying that we might have some that are really good, but there might be some that are just maybe a little bit cobbled together. That's all. Well, we've done our final thoughts, Zach, so we're done. We don't have to keep talking anymore. This is time to call it.
Okay, call it. Yeah, let's do it. Get out.
See everybody for Shakedown. Don't forget, if you want to, you can always visit the website, which is superlicense.fm. The FM stands for Zach.
Formula Men.
Formula Man, that's exactly right. You could send us an email at superlicencepodcast@gmail.com. You could follow us on Twitter, which is just @superlicense. Remember, it's SE at the end, the US way. And Yeehaw, Ride 'em Cowboy, and I love Texas.
Cheeseburger, gun, bang, bang, whatever it was, cowboy. You didn't like that last episode.
Go and look that up. Remember what it is, and then the next show, bring it out.
No.
Just say it right, and I'll be impressed.
No, wrong answers only.
Okay, let me Google it.
Okay.
Twisties, right?
Audio in if you can.
No, are we talking about that flavor of Twisties?
Oh. No, I'm talking about that funny like Vine clip or something where it's like,
Oh, well, you're going
was
to
it
find
a
that.
Simpsons reference? I can't remember. I've got a scrambled brain from all this Formula One watching. I can't keep all of this in my head. I ran a half marathon, Rod. It's like the furthest anyone can ever run. Okay?
It is. It's the second longest distance that you can run. It is true.
Yeah, they stop you. They come in, the racing authorities come in. If you try to run more than a marathon, they're like, no, that's illegal.
You've had enough. Can't even find this other thing I was looking for, so it doesn't matter. It's all gone to shit. We'll see you for Shakedown next week, and then after that is Saturday, some race somewhere. So we'll cover that. Have yourself a good week going there. That's right. Hola. And go get a vaccine if you can, and we'll see you for the next race. Until then, my name's been Rod.
My name's been Zach.
We'll see you and talk to you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeehaw!